these terrestrial souls, they have nothing to do with the day of judgment, Yawmul Qiyamah. They do not face any accountability on the day of judgment, right? Because the same soul is found in the stone. Same soul is found in the plants and the animals. So these three souls are terrestrial souls, and they have nothing to do with the day of judgment, and there is no accountability for them. Their sole purpose in the body is to sustain life, growth of the body. Some people have very strong mineral soul, which is found in the stones. If your mineral soul is very strong, you will naturally have the tendency to live nearby mountains and rocks. You want to spend more time with the rocks and mountains and mountainous areas. Some people have the botanical soul very strong in them. They like greenish fields. They want to implant trees. They love flowers. And some others have the bio soul very strong in them. So they keep, dogs and cats. All these different features in human beings are for the reason that they have all these three souls in them, in their body. But like I said, they have nothing to do with the day of judgment or the divine accountability. Therefore, when one person dies and the angels collect these terrestrial souls, then save it there in the realm of Alam Nasut, so they can use it for another baby. But the terrestrial soul, they come only once in a lifetime. Now, when the baby is born, as long as the baby is inside the womb of the mother, even according to Islamic faith, that baby does not reach the status of humankind. You cannot call that baby an insan, a human being. This is why when the baby is a stillborn, the baby dies before the birth. There is no namaz-e-janazah for such babies. Once the baby is born and is outside the womb of the mother, then angels bring the set of celestial souls. Celestial souls are placed inside the body of the baby, and this is when the baby cries. Spirituality is all about awakening of these celestial souls. It's not about the terrestrial souls. So we will be discussing the role of celestial souls in our body, in our life, in our religion, or in our spirituality. Now, celestial souls, there are 6 celestial souls in the body. 5 main celestial souls are buried in your chest. 5 of them. This is where the 5 senses come from. These 5 souls are responsible for granting us the 5 senses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, soul number 1 in Urdu, Ruh, Qalb. Ruh means the main human soul. Qalb, the spiritual heart. And next to Qalb is Siri, the secret of God. And then in the middle is Akhfa, the most hidden. Next to which is Khafi, the hidden one. So these 5 souls in the breast. If you understand this, you will understand all the religions. You will understand all the prophets. You will understand all the messengers. You will understand what was in God's mind when He was creating a human being. Then you'll come to know the real meaning of when God said God created man in His own image. Khalaqtul Adama ala surati. Because these souls in the breast of a human being are the marks of divine distinction. The reason why there were only 5 grand messengers, and the reason why Prophet Muhammad was the last of all prophets and all messengers, the secret lies there. in the formation of these souls. Adam was the first one, Adam Safiullah. God granted him the spiritual knowledge of the heart, prophethood of the heart. So the knowledge of the heart, when God granted this to Prophet Adam, with the help of this knowledge, he was able to open hearts of his nation. Let me remind you what was the discussion between God and the angels when God commanded the angels to make a body of a human being in paradise. The angels objected and they said to God, "Yet again, you're making a human being again. What will he do in the world? He'll be a mischief monger. He will shed blood." And God said, "You do not know what I know. And this time I have decided to furnish the heart of this man with knowledge of eminence, knowledge of supremacy, amazing knowledge which I have never parted with. If you know about that knowledge, fire away, go ahead, enlighten me." And the angel said, "How do we know of the knowledge that you haven't granted to us?" So God said, "Keep quiet." This was the knowledge of the heart, how to be in contact with the Creator. Knowledge of the heart, how to activate your heart with God's name, how to acquire permanent remembrance of God. Because in Quran, the amount of zikr that you're supposed to do is countless. الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ. In the eyes of God, only those are devout mu'mineen who remain engaged in zikr Allah while they're standing, وَقُعُودًا while they're sitting, وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ and while they're tossing in their bed, they're sleeping. Obviously, in the first two states, you can easily remember God with the help of the rosary or with the help of the tip of the tongue. But how will you remember God when you're sleeping in your cozy bed? And you don't even know how many times you turn your sides. How many times do we turn our side when we're sleeping? We don't even remember. But even then, God requires from you to remain engaged. This is why the Prophet of Islam said, "My eyes sleep, my heart doesn't sleep." So this knowledge, with the help of which the hearts were able to engage in permanent remembrance of God, this knowledge was granted to Prophet Adam. Now, if you think remembrance of God is just a ritual, it's just a form of worship, you'll be mistaken, because God treats the enlightenment of the heart in a different way. The whole purpose of synchronizing God's name in the beats of the heart is to be able to retrieve the energy from God's name, to retrieve the divine energy. Like when you rub two stones together, spark is created. ٹھیک ہے نا؟ بادل آپس میں ٹکراتے ہیں تو بجلی کونتی ہے. اسی طرح جب لفظ اللہ آپس میں ٹکراتا ہے تو اللہ کا نور بنتا ہے. In a similar way, when God's name is repeated inside the throats of the heart, divine energy is generated, and your heart becomes a factory of divine energy. I mean, the heart is like a divine gadget, an electrical sort of gadget with which you will communicate with God. You will send your ideas, your thoughts, and your voice to God, and you will receive God's messages upon the screen of your heart only when it has been enlightened, awakened, spiritualized, and energized with the divine light. So they were those who were the ummah of Adam Safiullah. So the knowledge of the heart was granted to Prophet Adam. Now comes Abraham, the father of prophets. And God granted Abraham the knowledge of the soul. God taught him how to awaken the soul, how to internalize God's name in the depth of the soul, how to teach your soul to remain engaged in God's remembrance, even when your mind is busy elsewhere, even when you're sleeping in your bed, because the soul doesn't sleep, because the heart doesn't sleep. And then the knowledge of the soul, how the soul can perform spiritual journeys between where you live now and the place where the soul has come from. The soul has come from Alam Jabrut.
TV, bringing light, love, and peace in your life.